Just a little more than a month after Carmine Marceno was sworn in as Lee County's new sheriff, he's now dealing with an increasingly public legal battle. I'm Patrick Nolan.
And I'm Jane Monreal. We have been trying for days now to get the sheriff's response to the paternity suit that's filed against him. The woman who filed it says he is the father of her unborn baby. And she tells me she filed that suit to keep him from having contact with the child.
Congratulations, Sheriff Marceno, you're in charge.
When Carmine Marceno was sworn in as sheriff on October 1st, the ceremony was held at McGregor Baptist Church. With his hand on his heart, he stood between Sheriff Mike Scott, who was retiring, and Governor Scott, who appointed Marino to the rest of Scott's term. Marino promised accountability.
To use this opportunity to make this the greatest and safest county there is.
But behind the scenes was a very personal drama that was about to go public. In court, Deanna Williams filed these documents Monday as part of a lawsuit for paternity against Sheriff Marceno. In the documents, she says she wants sole custody of the unborn child, claiming the father does not wish for the child to be born. Only on Fox 4, after long discussion, Deanna finally agreed to an on-camera interview about the paternity lawsuit she filed and her reason for speaking publicly for the first time.
Why now file a paternity suit?
I wanted to give him a little bit of time to get to the point where he could absorb things and have a rational conversation about it. I wanted him to realize that this child is going to be born. We are having a baby, and he needs to discuss this, and like most parents do, and discuss all of those issues that come along with having a baby.
Deanna claims he has insisted she terminate the pregnancy so vigorously that she's scared.
I am concerned about his level of desperation, the tone in his voice, the panic that abortion was the only way. He was so adamant that anything else was absolutely wrong, that I could not have this child, that I would not have this child, that I would not under any circumstances.
Deanna and her attorney say those statements are the reason they're asking a court to keep Marceno from having contact with the baby after it's born. On the document it reads, the court should establish a parenting plan with the following provisions. No time sharing with the father. This schedule is in the best interest of the child because the father does not wish for the child to be born nor to accept the child into his life. In the alternative, the mother requests supervised time sharing for the father. We tried to get the sheriff's response to these claims and were told the Lee County Sheriff's Office is declining a request for an interview. This is a personal matter being handled by the sheriff through his attorney. So we called Sheriff Marceno and his attorney.
My name is Jane Monreal, calling from Fox 4 News.
And sent other emails and texts in our quest to get you answers. We could not get any access or comment from the sheriff, so we checked to see when the sheriff was last in the public spotlight. We found this social media post from the sheriff's office on October 18th, in which the sheriff poses with a state representative. The post says the sheriff gave a tour of the office during the meeting. Since Marceno was appointed by Governor Scott, we asked the governor if he has anything to say to you about this. No response. Since the office of sheriff is normally an elected and always a partisan office, and Marceno is Republican, we reached out to the Lee County Republican Party. No response. So we reached out to the man who gave Marceno his political blessing to take over his old job. Mike Scott told us by phone he stands behind Marceno as sheriff.
I have full faith and confidence in Carmine professionally.
Scott also said he's not involved in Marceno's personal life, but has been in contact with him.
I just know pretty much what I've seen and heard publicly. Obviously, I've spoken with Carmine a little bit about it, but and have, of course, encouraged him to, understand that, again, like everyone else pretty much on the planet Earth right now, there's generally a professional side and a personal side. And sometimes they can become commingled.
But the lawsuit only refers to a personal relationship. We asked her about the wording in the suit, quote, the father does not wish for the child to be born.
He told me that pregnancies can end in other ways than abortion.
Was that on the phone?
That was on the phone, and I asked if that was a threat, and I asked him to clarify that. And I think he said something like, "Hun, come on, you've got to realize you've got to do what's right.
We also heard from someone who seems to have a unique perspective in the story. As a former prosecutor, Chris Crowley is familiar with the law. He also says he's acquainted with Sheriff Marcino and is a friend of Deanna Williams.
He was very nervous, very afraid, was kind of being bullied by the sheriff to have an abortion, and she wanted to keep the child. And I tried to kind of mediate the process.
Did you reach out to the sheriff?
I did. I left a message on his cell, but he never got back to me.
How long ago was that?
About a couple weeks ago. I was trying to see if we could maybe work something out quietly in mutual before, because I'm a certified mediator, but it just never happened.
Crowley tells me he offered to be a go-between for Deanna and the sheriff. Deanna says she was monogamous with the sheriff. Crowley says the sheriff has not taken a basic but crucial step he offered to assist with.
I didn't do the paternity test myself, and it hasn't been done, but as far as I know, this is the sheriff's child.
Without the sheriff responding to our repeated requests to share his side of the story, Deanna's words are all the community has to go by for now.
I would like for him to take care of his responsibilities. This is his child too. I wish he cared. It's very hard. I don't know what it's like for a child to be born with one parent who cares and one parent who not only doesn't care, but absolutely does not want him or her to be born. It's hard to think about.
Marcino was appointed to finish 2 years of Mike Scott's 4-year term, and then he'll have to run for re-election after that.